Good morning and welcome back to the Advanced Cataloging course of the Missouri Evergreen Consortium. I'm Greg Whitmore, the Consortium Cataloger. And in this video, which is going to be a little bit longer than the previous ones, we are going to create a record that is not in the system and it is not a book. We're going to create a record for, say, an equipment or something physical that you may want to check out in your library. Now, before we actually get into creating this record, I always highly recommend that you try to download a record from somebody else. If you've got a hotspot, for instance, an internet hotspot that you're trying to catalog, there may be some records out there that we can use the Z39 protocol to actually bring those records into the system, and it won't take as long to create them. But if you don't have any of those options or you can't find any of those records, then this is the way that you would do this. I'm actually going to create some equipment, a DVD read-write drive that actually plugs into a computer or a laptop. So to begin with, anytime we want to create a new record, we're actually going to go into the catalog, and we have an option that says create new MARC record. And when you do that, it's going to give you a list through this drop down of what it is you're trying to create. So we can see audiobooks, Blu-rays, books, DVDs, e-readers, but nothing in terms of the equipment that I want to catalog. In this case, I might be able to download an e-reader and get some of the initial tags that I want to use, but in this example, I'm actually going to download a playaway. Once I decide what I'm going to download, I'm going to hit load. It'll still give me a good number of tags that I want to use, but I'll probably end up modifying quite a bit of it. Once I find what I want to catalog, I'm going to hit load. And you can see that it takes me into the flat text editor, which is where I want to be, at least initially. It gives me all of this information here, which, to be honest, I'm not going to use a whole lot of. So I'm going to go ahead and delete what I'm not going to use. I will be using a 538 key, and I will be putting in a 500, and I'll be putting in a 300 tag. I'm going to get rid of both of these 250s, or at least the information in there. So this is my skeleton, if you want to look at it that way. Once I've fixed what I'm going to do, or kind of laid it out what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And that's going to take me into the record itself. And we'll fix this in just a minute. So now we're going to go into the MARC edit, and notice that when we're in here, we actually have access to the enhanced MARC editor. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to change some of these fields as best I can to reflect the actual equipment that I'm cataloging. So I'm going to go into type, I'm going to highlight it and hit right mouse click and find something that will define what I'm looking for. This is actually a three-dimensional artifact. And then I'm just going to go through each one of these levels, and if I can, I will edit it, and if I can't, then I'll erase it. When I go into this one, I'm going to call it a subunit of the computer that I'm actually using. The description I'm going to erase. The form, it's going to be electronic. The source for cataloging is going to be other. This is going to be a general record. It's in English. Note too that when you're going through and doing this, this is like putting in a square peg into a round hole, specifically for things that we don't have templates for. So you may not be able to use all of these fields. And if you can't, that's fine. And none of this is really going to work for what we're trying to accomplish. So I've done pretty much what I can. I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. Now, because I don't want this video to be too terribly long, I actually went through and pre-cataloged this particular item. All of the tags from the leader through the 008 we're going to keep right as they are. And we're going to start adding tags at this point right after the 008. So the very first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to put in the UPC codes that I found on the box from the item that I'm cataloging. And I'm going to put those in there. Then, because I'm actually going to be editing this record as I go, I'm going to go ahead and put in 040 tag with my library code in it. And I'm going to follow that with a 049 tag. That has my 3-letter library code plus an A at the end. Remember that the 049 tag is actually a 4-character field, so we need to make sure that we have 4 characters in there. Next, I'm going to put in a 245 tag that's actually the description from the box of what I'm trying to catalog. I am going to put in a 246 tag as well, something very, very general so that if somebody is searching for this, they can find it based on the fact that it's just equipment. After that, I'm going to put in a 260 tag. This is going to tell the people that are looking at this record who made this and where it was made. Following that tag, I'm going to put in a 300 tag. That includes not only a physical description, but everything that comes in the box. So in this case, I have the physical descriptions. I've got the power cord that came with it. There was a DVD that came with it and a quick start guide. We do need to make sure that we're following RDA rules for this, even though it's equipment. Most of the RDA rules are going to come into play when you're doing a CD, like a music CD or a DVD movie, that type of thing, something that is going to play some kind of media. We still want to make sure that we put our 336, 337, and 338 tags in here, but because of, in this particular example anyway, they're not really going to have a whole lot of information in them. The majority of the information that we're going to find on this particular record is going to come from the 500 tags, because there I can actually put in part numbers and I can say how it's connected, and I can put in the specifications. So in these 500 tags, I've got the part number, I've got what it does, I've got the systems that it'll connect to, whether it's a Windows system or a Mac system. Going on to the company's website, I actually found their description in there as well that has some more technical information in it, which may or may not be useful to some people. In addition to that, on that same web page, I found the actual technical requirements for this particular piece of equipment. I should really put in some 600 or 650 tags, but I don't really have anything that comes to mind that'll really describe this any better than I already did. Be warned too that once you're in the flat text editor, the system does not recognize you actually doing anything in the system, in the Missouri Evergreen system. And if you don't make any significant changes or save your work as you're going along, it will time out on you. I think it might time out after like 2 or 3 hours, which to type all this in and to research all this information could easily take that long. So what I really recommend is that as you're going through and creating these records, you periodically save your work. I'm done with this for the most part, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. We can see that the record was successfully updated, and if we look at the patron view, this is what it looks like. So in addition to what I've done here, my next job would be to come in and actually add some holdings to this. Maybe this is something that's coming out of Reynolds County. For classification, I'm just going to keep it as generic. And maybe we've decided as a call number we use EQP for equipment. And we'll put in here DVD. Maybe the barcode is going to be train. Whoops. Train 020. Oh, I've already used that one. 021. Dang it. Okay. Once I'm found a good barcode that works, hopefully you can just scan one. You can come into the templates and upload any that you have. Otherwise, you'd want to go through and change all these particular fields. So in this case, I'm going to make this available. The library needs to match the owning library. Is it a reference book? I'm going to say no. Shelving stacks, I'll just keep it in ME. It's going to be visible in the OPAC. We're going to circulate this as equipment. The price on this is $35. It's going to be for a normal loan duration. Acquisition cost was also $35. I'm going to circulate this as a 3-dimensional artifact. It is holdable. There's no deposit required. There is no age-based hold protection on this particular item, which is going to be, this would be used for like a bestseller. If you didn't want to loan it out to anybody, you would change this from 6 months to 3 months or whatever your library policy is. The quality of the initial physical item is good. The fine level is going to be normal, and then we would put in any notes that we would seem that we would want to do. Once we get done filling this out, we'll hit Save and Exit. And if we look over at the item table, we'll see that there is our item, and it's ready to be checked out. So again, this particular video is more for the oddball things that you might be cataloging. I know that some libraries have cake pans or internet hotspots. I've seen libraries with fishing poles or telescopes, that type of thing where you may not be able to find an actual record out there that you can download, but you can certainly go through these steps and go to the web pages that we've previously talked about, where all the code information is. You can also actually look at another library who might happen to have one of these items, look at their MARC record if they have it available, or at least look at the record that you find and see if you can use that as maybe a guide on how to do this. So I thank you for your time. Have a good day.